Hello everyone, this is Father. We're checking out Reggorf, which I believe is the word Frogger in reverse here. And this is a game I've not played before. We're going to give it a playtest and see if we can give some useful feedback. Something's happening in the game right now. We're just going to ignore that for a moment. But yeah, so I've got the game page open. There's nothing actually written here, but I did notice connected to the little link you click on to open the game page here, it does say Frogger, but you're the car, apparently. So I guess that's what this game is about. Yeah, so I've never played this before. I haven't seen anything past the screen. This is kind of what it looks like when you just run the game and don't do anything. So I guess we're going to take a look at this. It's currently, okay, I just dragged the window for a moment there. It's currently in windowed mode. It looks like time is an element here. Yeah, so I guess we're gonna press R to restart. I do have a gamepad plugged in. I'm not sure if that's worth trying to use. I was just using it for the last playtest, I guess. I'll go ahead and get rid of that. I don't think that's... It seemed like any of the buttons were working, so... yeah, so this is in a window. It might look a little bit blurry being blown up a few pixels here to the 1080p. Let's go ahead and press R. I don't know if Alt Enter will work. I could try to maximize. I guess this is... Oh, interesting. So maximizing the window actually changes the aspect ratio here, so I can see further to the left and to the right, which is not what I expected. So I guess it was... I do have to click in here. Oh, it's mouse control. Okay. I was like, oh, okay, so it actually stretched it to fit the aspect ratio, so I'm not actually seeing any further. All right, let's go back. I think it's stretched. Yeah. All right, so I thought maybe it was like arrow keys, WC or something to control, but it looks like it's actually the mouse, and you actually click with the mouse. That's really interesting. It feels really interesting. The car kind of slides around a lot. It's very drifty. It has a cool feeling to it. I'm not sure about the idea of like when you hit the frogs, you kind of bounce off them. There's like a little bit of a physics bump there. Is there like a hole they're going towards in the middle, I guess? Something like that? Can't I just kind of camp the hole here if they're all going towards a little... I don't know what that is, just looks like a black square or whatever. Yeah, so I think for it to kind of have the the feeling of running over frogs, I don't think it should bump the car when you run into them. I think they should just kind of splat, and you should just maintain your whatever inertia you have. Probably feel a little more realistic. It's a very strange thing to talk about. I do think it might be cute if you have gamepad support. I mean, you probably should add gamepad support at some point, but it would be, I mean, going from this mouse control to gamepad might be a little weird, but I guess, you know, you could do a different control scheme. But I was thinking it would be cute if you had like a little, a bump in the rumble, the gamepad rumble, every time you ran over one of the frogs. It's a silly concept, but yeah, I guess there's this little thing that they all go towards for whatever reason. Makes it very predictable, I guess, how they're gonna move. And yeah, I guess I can just kind of hang around. Oh, you can also go backwards. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, it's a really interesting control scheme. I don't think I've played a game that controls quite like this, but yeah, I think they're all gonna... Oh, okay, so yeah, you can't turn around that quickly, so it's easy to kind of let them through. I don't know if they have any kind of intelligence as far as like when they try to jump through there, if they're trying to avoid me. Oh, I have to have like enough velocity to actually kill it. Interesting. So I can't just park over it. Interesting. So yeah, it definitely seems like it makes sense to kind of hang around the little hole here because it's where they're all going towards. But it's also really easy to not kill them because there's just so much inertia on the car. It's very hard to change the directions and such. So that's interesting. Yeah, so I guess you have to kind of wonder like what where to go from here, right? And how the game optimizes. So how to play it more optimally. I'm not sure if there's much depth with the way it currently works. I think maybe if I spin around, that'll allow me to kill them if they come close. Because it does seem like you have to have a non-zero amount of speed. Because I think if I'm gonna try using that as a break, I think if I stay here, they're just gonna. Oh, that actually did kill him. Interesting. All right, so you can. I guess you can kind of just park in the middle here, and for the most part, they'll come to you. They do kind of bump you away though. I'm not sure if this is the optimal play. I don't really feel like, even though I'm like letting frogs pass, I don't feel like if I did it in a different, like more kind of proactive way, kind of trying to run around spotting them, I don't get the impression that it would actually be any more optimal than doing this. So yeah, any game you make, it's really important like how it optimizes, because that's kind of what gameplay is the player optimizing things to get in this case get a better end score. So yeah, I guess if you intend to keep going with the project here, I guess you'd want to find ways to make that optimization more interesting. And how to do that, I'm not sure. I mean, the inertia is kind of dramatic, so I think generally for games, as kind of a rule of thumb, like the less inertia you have on your movement, the more responsive it is, the more kind of you can more rapidly change directions, you can dodge and react to things a lot more quickly and stuff. It just gives the player kind of a lot more power. Whereas if you have a lot of inertia, then it's like the player is kind of constantly fighting it, and it's not a bad thing to have inertia because it has good qualities too. It makes things feel very physical, and it adds a lot of weight and can be interesting to kind of steer, as opposed to just like um, instead of always just like pressing the direction you want to go. It's kind of like you can influence the inertial movement of the whatever you're controlling and stuff like that, whatever. So my point being, if you do go the direction of kind of wanting a lot of inertia, I generally think is kind of just for most action games in general, it helps to have something that can kind of overcome the inertia. So some kind of like a move, like if you have some kind of like a hack and slash game, maybe you'd have like a dodge move or a roll dodge or something that could like quickly overcome the inertia and allow you to quickly move in a direction, that kind of thing. That just kind of allows you to sort of overcome the inertia in key moments where you really need to, and that can do a lot to circumvent some of the downsides to having inertia, where you don't necessarily feel in control in some crucial situations. So I don't know if there's maybe a way you can do that. Obviously, this is car themed. You could have some kind of like a nitro boost or something, but you have kind of a rotational. It's not a rotational inertia, but it does rotate kind of slowly, gradually. It doesn't just like instantly snap to where the mouse is facing. So I think it would be tricky to have you change directions too quickly, but maybe there's something you could do there. Have some kind of a boost type of deal or something. I might just add a little bit to this. Yeah, it might be interesting if the frogs do something other than go towards the center. That would incentivize you moving around the screen more and that kind of thing. It seemed to make sense. I guess, I wonder... Alright, yeah, it seems like you can't necessarily predict the order in which they're gonna go in. But yeah, I just have to kind of counteract them bumping me away, but it seems like just sitting in the center here is kind of the optimal way to play. So yeah, I think maybe if the frogs have different things they go towards, maybe they're just... I think it would be nice if they just try and go across the road, sort of like in the original Frogger, because that has sort of a thematic element, because frogs actually do that in real life. If I don't know if there's a lot of frogs around where you live, but when Yeah, I've noticed like sometimes when it rains, you'll be driving and there'll just be like a frog going across the road, and it's like exactly like exactly like the old video game where they are uh, risking their life just trying to cross the road. And um, I think that would work well. They're just kind of going even just vertically. Maybe that's not necessarily that interesting. You can have all these different ways you can make their behavior more interesting, but I think obviously, just going towards the middle is a little bit basic, and that could just be, um, for the sake of the scope of the game being very simple and whatever, that works fine. But um, if you do decide to keep going with the game, I think that'd be interesting. And like I said, more movement options for the car would be great. Um, Maybe something like better brakes or something would also help with kind of dealing with the inertia. Um, I don't think there's a brake button. I think it's just left and right mouse button. You can kind of use the right mouse button as a brake, sort of, assuming you're. I think that works, but it's not like a really kind of crispy, snappy sort of brake. It still takes a while to slow down, so it's not necessarily. I don't know. It might help you change directions more quickly, but it's hard to say. But yeah, maybe a brake button. Doesn't necessarily have to be realistic. You can just do what feels good, and just making the movement feel like a little bit more snappier and um, like I said, just kind of allowing the player to manage the inertia better would make it more exciting, I think. So yeah, I think that those are good ideas. So for one thing, having like a brake, which would um, allow you to change directions quicker because you don't have to like decelerate in the direction you're going before you can accelerate as much. Like you can decelerate a lot more quickly, maybe, and then maybe you could even have it so like um, maybe this is actually kind of a the way cars work in real life to some extent. Maybe the faster you're going, the slower you turn, but when you slow down, maybe you can turn around really quickly. Which I guess technically, if you're going really slow, it doesn't work that way in real life. But that would be a video gamey type of thing, and that stuff like this all together and um, would allow it so that you could uh, have a movement system that could be more interesting, and that you're kind of managing a number of different little controls you have over the car to maneuver better and quicker. Because that's kind of what this game is fundamentally about, right? So that you have these froggers and you wanna run them all over. Um, so the way that the game is going to optimize is that you're going to maneuver the car better effectively. You're going to move to different points in the screen more rapidly. So yeah, that the suggestions I made would enable that, I think. So um, so yeah, like if you have like a little boost, if you have a brake button, and maybe the ability to turn more rapidly while you're moving slower, I think all those things combined would would add actually kind of a lot to how engaging and capable the movement itself would be. So hopefully that's useful for you. I think that's about all I got. I hope you keep working on it. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next one.